Food assistance programs such as the Special Supplemental Nutrition Program for Women, Infants, and Children, or WIC, and the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, or SNAP, can provide nutritious foods for pregnant women and infants and children who may have limited financial means. The WIC program provides nutritious foods, it provides nutrition education, it also provides referral to health and social services. And WIC has been great in improving pregnancy, having positive health outcomes, including improved iron status in pregnant women, reduced risk of infant mortality in low birth weight babies, and then reduced maternal and newborn medical costs. So WIC has definitely had a major impact in improving pregnancy outcomes for women that may have limited financial support. We've touched on how weight gain is important during pregnancy, but the right amount of weight gain is what's really important. And appropriate weight gain is determined by pre-pregnancy BMI, so what someone starts with before they're pregnant, their overall nutrient needs, so this is based on their age, their height, their activity level, all those different things, and then the number of fetuses that they're carrying. So, are they having a single pregnancy, which is most women, or are they having twins or triplets? So it's very important to stay within this recommended weight gain range depending on a woman's pre-pregnancy weight. Any excess weight gained during pregnancy above these amounts will be stored as fat. And notice again that individuals who are underweight should gain more weight than an individual who is overweight or obese. Most weight that's gained during pregnancy is in lean tissues, including the placenta, the uterus, blood, mammary glands, and the fetus. But fat weight is still important, and fat weight will occur. But the fat weight that is gained is needed to support lactation, obviously, after the infant is born. So you can see how the different components or the different pieces of pregnancy really add up to the total weight gain. What about physical activity during pregnancy? Should a mom be physically active? There are many benefits of physical activity, we know, for everyone, but there are also benefits for physical activity during pregnancy. So physical activity can help improve the fitness of mom. It can facilitate labor and make it easier. It may help to prevent or manage gestational diabetes, and it overall reduces psychological stress. And that's true for anyone, man or woman, pregnant or not pregnant. If a woman is already active, it's fine for her to continue to exercise throughout her pregnancy. She should just make sure to adjust her intensity and duration. So she doesn't want to be running a marathon when she is almost 40 weeks pregnant. So intensity and duration may need to be adjusted and probably should be adjusted. For a woman that doesn't currently exercise, she should definitely check with her doctor before starting anything too intense. It's important to choose low-impact activities and you want to avoid hits or falls. So if there's something that might cause you to fall, like rock climbing, you would want to avoid that sort of activity. But, riding a bike, riding a stationary bike, walking, even lifting weights, things like that are going to be fine. It's also important to avoid activities that may cause a woman to become overheated or dehydrated because this can harm the fetus. You can check out figure 13.8 in your book, as this shows more guidelines for physical activity for pregnant women. Your book talks a little bit about teen pregnancy, and this is important because pregnant teens have the highest nutrient needs because their own bodies are still growing and developing, and they're also having this fetus which is growing and developing. So they're really a special case. Specifically, teen moms are often deficient in, or teens in general are often deficient in vitamin B12, which is from animal products, vitamin D, folate, iron, and calcium. And all of these, as we talked about before, are very important because their needs are also increased during pregnancy. So if a teen mom is already deficient and her growing fetus needs this as well, this can cause a major problem. Teen moms are also less likely to receive prenatal care, and they're more likely to smoke. And both of these are predictors of low birth weight and infant death. So if a mom can get prenatal care, and that would help with, finding a supplement that she needs, a prenatal supplement that would meet these needs up here, and then stop smoking, this can increase the likelihood of a positive, healthy birth. Adequate nutrition and appropriate weight gain can help to substantially improve outcomes for teen mothers and infants. So again, focusing on proper nutrition, lifestyle behaviors, and just an overall healthy lifestyle can help to have an improved outcome. So pregnant women may have a lot of discomforts, and these are common and normal and to be expected. So pregnancy cravings and aversions are a real thing. They're very common, but they don't reflect physiological needs. So when someone might be craving like pickles and ice cream, that doesn't really reflect physiological needs, but it's usually due to these hormone-induced changes in taste and sensitivities to smells. And these can change throughout pregnancy. So maybe at the beginning, Chinese food sounds amazing, and by the end, the smell of Chinese food, she can't handle it. So these are all these changes are due to hormones. In general, we don't need to be concerned about cravings or aversions unless they really, are adding a lot of excess calories to the diet, or they are preventing the mom from getting the nutrition that she needs. Pica is the response to food cravings by eating non-food items, and pica is something that we need to be concerned about. So consumption of non-food items may be things like dirt or clay, and this can actually be toxic to the infant or to the fetus. So if someone is experiencing pica, it'd be important to see what else is going on and definitely reach out to a doctor. Morning sickness is another common discomfort of pregnancy, and this is also due to hormonal changes, specifically during early pregnancy. Morning sickness usually peaks around 9 weeks of gestation, so during that first trimester, and it usually resolves within a month or two. Some women may experience this throughout the whole pregnancy, but it is somewhat individual. Heartburn and constipation are also common as the fetus is growing and taking up more space, and this can be really uncomfortable for mom. So there are different strategies that can be used to relieve both heartburn and constipation. So constipation, consuming adequate fiber, drinking plenty of liquids, doing some physical activity. For heartburn, you don't want to put any excess pressure on your stomach, maybe being propped up, don't laying down right after you've eaten. So just some tips and tricks to help manage some of those through pregnancy as well, to relieve some of those discomforts. There are some cautions for pregnant women, and your book does a great job explaining these in more detail, and I'm just going to briefly touch on them. We talked about cigarette smoking. It can kill an otherwise healthy fetus or newborn. Nicotine is toxic, and it's going to reduce oxygen delivery to the fetus. So if you're pregnant and you currently smoke, or someone that smokes and is pregnant, tell them to stop. This can be really detrimental to both mom and baby. Medicinal drugs and herbal supplements can cause birth defects. There's a lot of unknowns about these, as we've talked about in some of our controversies. So just being very careful about using these and really avoiding, because it may be unknown the effect on an infant or a fetus. Drug abuse, again, can cause birth defects, developmental delays, environmental contaminants like mercury. This is why moms should watch the amount of mercury they consume in seafood. So seafood is recommended, but again, avoiding those that are high in mercury content, and not, eating seafood every single day, but staying within the recommendations. Last week we talked about foodborne illnesses, and these can be especially damaging for moms. So one, regardless of who you are and you get a foodborne illness, vomiting, diarrhea, all of that can cause dehydration. So for a mom, that could be really detrimental. Additionally, that could cause, depending on the foodborne illness, it could cause miscarriage or stillbirth of the fetus. Vitamin and mineral overdoses of anything can be toxic, cause birth defects. So it's really important to not take supplements during pregnancy beyond a prenatal supplement that's recommended by a doctor or healthcare provider. Restrictive dieting will restrict growth. So we've already talked about how mom's needs are increased. So if dieting is going on, weight loss is being attempted, this can, cause a very small baby and have some negative effects as well. Caffeine is fine in small amounts. There's no studies to show that this can be harmful, but moderate or heavy intake can affect fetal growth. So just being limiting of caffeine consumption during pregnancy. Alcohol should be avoided completely during pregnancy. Alcohol can cross the placenta freely, and it's very toxic. It's like cigarette smoke, it's limiting oxygen delivery to the fetus. It's going to slow cell division, and then it can affect fetal brain cell division. It also interferes with nutrient transport to the fetus. So alcohol is not a good thing for your growing fetus. Even before pregnancy, too much alcohol can damage the ovum or sperm before pregnancy. So, if you're trying to get pregnant, both the excess alcohol can be detrimental to mom and to dad, related to eggs and sperm. And most alcohol, or all alcohol, has to have this government warning on it, saying that women should not drink alcohol beverages during pregnancy because of the risk of birth defects. So birth defects are known as fetal alcohol syndrome, and this is a result of drinking alcohol during pregnancy. Even one drink a day threatens neurological development and behavior, so abstinence from alcohol is the best policy for pregnant women. There may be a safe amount, but that amount is unknown. There's no studies to prove anything because it would be detrimental, and at what point in the pregnancy is it the safest? So the best policy is just to abstain from alcohol completely. Disease during pregnancy can endanger the health of both the mother and the fetus, and we're going to focus briefly on diabetes and hypertension and preeclampsia. So for a mom that is already diabetic, she has type 1 or type 2 diabetes, glycemic control can be a little challenging, and pregnancy can cause very low or very high blood sugar, and both of those could induce preterm labor if uncontrolled. Additionally, after pregnancy, it's very important for mom to keep her diabetes under control, and it may be a little bit harder to control it even after pregnancy. We also have what's called gestational diabetes, and this is diabetes that develops during pregnancy. It usually resolves itself after delivery, but increases the risk for diabetes later in life. So during pregnancy, a mom may have gestational diabetes, but once she gives birth, her diabetes resolves itself. But if she gets pregnant again, or even doesn't get pregnant again, it still increases her risk for having diabetes later in life. It also increases the odds of having a C-section and high infant birth weight. So usually moms that gain a lot of excess weight, they may be at higher risk for developing gestational diabetes. And all women are screened for gestational diabetes during the first trimester. Hypertension, some women have chronic hypertension that's present all the time, and it will still be there after pregnancy. But other moms may just develop hypertension during pregnancy, and their blood pressure will return to normal following the birth of the baby. Regardless of what kind of hypertension a mom has, it poses a risk for both her and the fetus. Preeclampsia is a condition of high blood pressure plus having protein in the urine and then edema or swelling, from water. This is the leading cause of preterm delivery, and if the baby hasn't been in there long enough, this can be very detrimental. Preeclampsia affects almost all of the mother's organs, and it can progress to eclampsia, which can be fatal for both mom and baby. So it's very important to, detect if you have these conditions and know about it and manage them. Do whatever you can to manage these through diet and behavior, and then using medication if needed.